Hi, I'm Monica. I'm a licensed and registered dietitian, and this is Pantry Table Talks, summer series where we talk about nutrition, tips, and tricks on how to stay healthier on a budget. So there's a lot of things that we're going to talk about today. Stay tuned to the end of the video, and I'm going to talk about the fan drive here at the Bastrop County Emergency Food Pantry. Also, I want to thank the Central Texas Food Bank for a lot of the things you see on the table today, and which enables us to do these cooking demos. And also, all the recipes come from their website. The information in this video is for entertainment and educational purposes only. Please consult your doctor and or registered dietitian on your special case. If you have any questions, this is live. Please leave them in the comments, and I will follow up on the Facebook page and the YouTube channel. So, what we're going to be talking about today, which kind of aligns with the fan drive, is hydration, how important it is. Well, one, it's important for our bodies. What our body does with water when it gets into our bodies, it breaks up the molecule and quickly transfers that to energy for all of our cells. And so that's kind of also validated by the fact that we can last longer without food than water. So for adults, for every 100 pounds that we weigh, we should be drinking 1.5 liters of water a day. When we're exercising, we should be replacing 100% of the fluids that are lost. If you're an athlete, there's limited research that shows that if you drink fluids that are higher in sodium, kind of like your Gatorades and your Powerades, it will help you maintain your core temperature. And elevated core temperature is one of the symptoms of heat stroke. Other symptoms, headaches, nausea, confusion, and there's one more. And no, I think that's it. The headache is usually the one I forget. So just keep an eye on those things and keep yourself hydrated. Some people do not like water. There are ways that you can add flavor to your water very simply, and I'm going to demonstrate one today. We're going to infuse water with strawberries and basil. What you can also do is use mint. Cucumbers are good. If you have a combination that you like, please leave it on the comments and share it with others. So you can grab a pitcher, fill it with ice. What I have here is a mason jar, and I already have cold water. So I'm just going to add 2 cups of cold water. And these recipes are very forgiving. You can eyeball it, and you can modify it if you want more of a strawberry flavor or basil flavor. This is just a starting point. So there's the 2 cups of cold water. And today the recipes are pretty easy, so I'm just going to go ahead and demonstrate some cooking skills again. I have my cutting board here. Underneath the cutting board is a wet paper towel to keep it sturdy. This is plastic, so you can see I'm putting a little force on it. And I'm trying to put on a glove because I am going to put this strawberry in the water, and it's going directly into somebody's body. So I just want to make sure there's no cooking to cook off any germs, so I just want to food safety here. So I cut off the tops here for a flat surface. Again, the way you hold your knife, kind of pinch it with these 2 fingers and wrap the other fingers around it. So you can, it feels a little unnatural at first, but it just takes a little bit getting used to. And for me, going across the body is not so natural, it's more of an angle. So what I'm going to do is actually move this an angle too. So I want another flat surface here. And knives are in a curved shape, so you want a rocking motion. And I'm going to go from the head and to demonstrate the rocking motion here. And the idea is to keep the knife in contact with the cutting board, so it's less likely that you will cause an accident. The recipe says a quarter of a cup of strawberries. That really isn't that much, so I'm just going to cut 1 more. Also, you want to curl your fingers too, and align the knife, I don't know if you can see that, with your knuckles. That takes some getting used to also, especially with the smaller items like this. Alright, so here are your strawberries. I'm going to put that in the mason jar. Basil, I like to cut off the stems. These are super tiny. I like to cut off the stems. And what I'm going to do is kind of tear it a little bit so the flavors can come through. And it says 1 basil leaf. I like basil, so I'm going to put a couple more. And you can smell that right away. Again, you can use mint. And that's basically it. What I'm going to do is just give it a little shake. The longer you leave it in here, the more flavor is going to come through. So what I'm going to do is going to set this aside and move on to the next recipe. The next recipe is we're going to make a beet and berry smoothie. I have 1 beet here. I washed it. I peeled it. And it says to cut it into 6. They're kind of big chunks. And what I have for a blender is one of those smoothie blenders. And it doesn't do a really good job at chopping, so the smaller pieces I think will be better. Can I add that? You could just add everything. And I also have a spoon because sometimes it needs a little help with a stir here and there. It calls for 1 frozen banana. So what I did is before I put it in the freezer, I had cut into pieces. It took me about 3 or 4 times to figure this out. First, I put a whole banana in there. Trying to peel a frozen banana is not fun. Then I put the peeled banana in there, which was fine, but then I still had to cut it. But then I thought, it's so easy just to pull it apart with your fingers. You don't even need a knife before you put it in there. So that's just a tip that took me a while to figure out. Start there. Alright, so that's all the stuff I'm going to be touching with my fingers. Now it calls for milk, 1.5 cups. Well, the recipe says unsweetened soy milk. I'm just going to use regular milk. The beet's going to give it a great flavor. There's a lot of nutrients in beets as well. So just making sure it's 1/2 cup. That's almost full. I am going to mix it just a little bit now. And since that's pretty much full, I'm going to dump half of it and make 2 different batches. And the beets blended nicely, so I think I misjudged that. It was really easy to do that. last addition is the mixed berries. And this is just mixed strawberries and raspberries. I think this was purchased at Walmart. And since I halved the batch, I'm only going to add half a cup. I like using frozen bananas too because it's packed with potassium and it does the same thing as the ice steam to add the thickness to it. I would add, well, these aren't frozen because it would have been hard to take them out of the container. So it's not as thick as you would imagine a smoothie to be, but I think because the frozen berries were thawed just a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and try this. This is really good. It almost tastes like something that doesn't have, like, almost like candy, like some creamy candy that you eat. Like, you can tell the beet a little bit, but it's just so subtle. It's like the good parts of the beet and not like, I don't know, that earthy flavor you kind of get with beets. And the color is so fun. All right. So I am going to try the infused water. And I'm going to get another glass. Or do I have a glass? No, I need one more glass. I would leave it in there a little longer. Like, the basil is pretty prominent. I can't really taste the strawberries, but I think if you leave it longer or if you put more strawberries, unless I like the taste of basil. If you don't, less basil, but it does add this something to it that's very good. So that really easy recipes this week, a little different from last week. So I'm going to mention the fan drive. So here at the Bastrop County Emergency Food Pantry, you can get fans to keep you cool during the summer. It's really hot today. That's why it's a little brighter in here than usual. So free fans for people who are 55 or older, or receiving disability benefits. Also, low-income families with children 18 years and younger, and seniors. So call the office. All the information's on the website. You can always call the office for more information as well. The phone number is 512-303-0033. And that is it for this week. Thank you for joining us. Show your support by liking our page and sharing it with others, and we'll see you next week.